Imagine being promised a 100% return on your investment in just 90 days. No stock market, no real business, no revolutionary invention, just pure profit. It sounds ridiculous today, but over 100 years ago, thousands of people believed it.
The man behind this promise was Charles Ponzi, a name that became so infamous that an entire type of financial fraud was named after him. But before he became America's most famous scammer, he was just a young man chasing a dream. Charles Ponzi was born in Italy in 1882. His family was comfortable, but their wealth had faded over time. Ponzi hated the idea of being ordinary. He believed he was destined for something bigger. When his father died, Ponzi received an inheritance. His mother wanted him to get an education. But instead of studying, he spent the money on expensive clothes, restaurants, and entertainment. Eventually, the money ran out, and reality came crashing down. With no degree, no career, and no fortune left, Ponzi made a life-changing decision. In 1903, he boarded a ship bound for America. He believed that was where his fortune was waiting. America was supposed to be the land of opportunity, but for Charles Ponzi, it quickly became the land of disappointment. The inheritance money was gone. There were no wealthy relatives to help him anymore. If he wanted to eat, he had to work. For the first time in his life, there was no other option. Over the next few years, Ponzi worked dozens of different jobs. Waiter, clerk, dishwasher, salesman. But none of those jobs lasted very long. Ponzi either quit or got fired. Sometimes he slept in parks. Sometimes he barely had enough money for food. It was a shocking contrast to the luxurious life he had once imagined. In 1907, hoping for a fresh start, Ponzi moved to Canada. There, he found a job at a bank that served Italian immigrants. At first, everything seemed to be going well. But hidden behind the bank's success was a dangerous secret. The bank where Ponzi worked seemed incredibly successful. Customers were pouring in every day. The bank promised unusually high returns, much higher than its competitors. But there was a problem. The profits weren't real. The bank was using money from new customers to pay older customers. It was known as robbing Peter to pay Paul, and Charles Ponzi was paying very close attention. Eventually, the authorities began investigating the bank. The owner grabbed as much money as he could and fled the country. Ponzi wanted to leave too, but before he did, he made a terrible mistake. He forged a check and tried to cash it. The plan failed instantly. Within moments, Charles Ponzi was under arrest, and soon he would be heading to prison for the first time. Prison was supposed to be a warning. Instead, it became a lesson. After serving his sentence, Ponzi was released, but he still dreamed of becoming rich. Unfortunately, honest work still didn't interest him. Soon, he became involved in a scheme helping illegal immigrants cross the border,
Once again, the authorities caught him, and once again, he was sent to prison. By now, most people would have given up. Ponzi did the opposite. After his release, he married Rose Gnecco. She believed in him, even when nobody else did. Together, they tried several business ventures. One after another, they failed. Then, in 1919, a simple letter arrived from Spain, and that letter would change everything. The letter seemed completely ordinary, but hidden inside was an opportunity worth millions. Inside the envelope was something called an international reply coupon. These coupons could be exchanged for postage stamps in different countries. And that's when Ponzi noticed something unusual. Because of currency differences after World War I, the same coupon could be worth more money in another country. On paper, it looked like free money. Ponzi believed he had discovered a loophole that could make him rich. There was only one problem. He didn't have enough money to scale the idea. So Ponzi came up with a new plan. Instead of using his own money, he would use other people's money. In 1920, Charles Ponzi made an unbelievable promise. Invest today and receive 50% profit in just 45 days. At first, only a few people invested. Most thought the offer sounded too good to be true. Then, something incredible happened. The first investors actually got paid. News spread rapidly across the city. Everyone wanted a piece of the opportunity. Soon, crowds were lining up outside Ponzi's office. Some people invested their savings. Others borrowed money just to invest more. Money poured in faster than anyone could count it. At his peak, Ponzi was making hundreds of thousands of dollars every single day. Newspapers called him a financial genius. To the public, he was living proof of the American dream. But behind the scenes, a terrifying secret was hiding in plain sight. The entire operation was impossible. The more successful Ponzi became, the more impossible his story sounded. Some journalists began asking a simple question. Where was all the money coming from? Ponzi claimed the profits came from international postal coupons, but reporters wanted proof. The numbers didn't make sense. To generate the profits he promised, Ponzi would have needed millions of postal coupons. There was only one problem. Those coupons didn't exist in those quantities anywhere in the world. Suddenly, the genius investor didn't look so genius anymore. Government investigators started digging deeper. And what they discovered was terrifying. Charles Ponzi wasn't making money from coupons. He was paying old investors with money from new investors. The moment the truth became public, panic spread across Boston. Investors rushed to get their money back before it was too late. Thousands of people lined up outside Ponzi's office. Some wanted answers. Others just wanted their life savings back. The newspapers that once praised Ponzi now turned against him. Every new investigation uncovered more lies. The financial empire that looked unstoppable was collapsing before everyone's eyes. Then came the moment Charles Ponzi could no longer escape. In August 1920, Charles Ponzi was arrested. The man who promised unlimited profits had finally run out of time. Charles Ponzi stood before a judge. The financial miracle was over. Investigators revealed that almost none of the promised profits had ever existed. The entire operation depended on one thing: a constant flow of new investors. Once that flow stopped, everything collapsed. Thousands of investors lost their savings. Some lost everything they owned. Ponzi was sentenced to prison. The dream of easy millions was finally over. Even after his release, Ponzi never truly escaped his past. His reputation was destroyed. His fortune was gone. In 1949, Charles Ponzi died in Brazil, nearly penniless. But his name never disappeared. More than a century later, financial scams built on the same idea still exist. And that's why we call them Ponzi schemes. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Money Mysteries for more incredible stories about money, power, scams, and the secrets hidden behind the world's biggest fortunes.